Lamar Jackson has officially been ranked by his peers in the NFL, and he did not come in at number one on the NFL top 100 players list. We talk about where he ranked and so much more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Ostreicher of Ravens Wire. We're here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for being here today. We have a jam-packed episode. We're going to be diving into Lamar Jackson's ranking on the NFL Top 100 list. It's official. He did not come in at number one, but we'll talk about where that ranking was. We'll also dive into, obviously, week one, very important for the Ravens. They'll head to Buffalo to play the Bills. Ravens players are not holding back on their motivation level for that game. And then we'll dive into some special teams talk as well. Tyler Loop, Jordan Stout, and of course, the man on the screen with me right now, Mr. Nick Moore, Ravens long snapper. You might see him on the program a little bit more often moving forward, which is exciting. And so I'm excited to talk to you, Nick. Glad you're here. I want to first say today's episode of Locked On Ravens is brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if you bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Thank you so much to everybody for making us a part of your day, your first listen of the day, as well as being a part of us on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Nick, glad to have you here. As I said before we started recording, proud of your camera. If you watched the squad show with Nick, we had a nice little EOS webcam utility after about a minute, but it's all figured out. Nick has conquered technology. And look at this, Nick. We're here. Football's back. Does it feel like it's officially back yet? Like, has it settled in yet?
Yeah, it's back. I mean, it is. We're done with training camp. We had our little mini break headed into the season, so it's go time now. We had a practice today, got tomorrow, going to lay low, and then Wednesday hit the ground running, just like a normal game week.
Yep, and we know Buffalo's important. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But for now, want to dive a little bit into Lamar Jackson. Obviously, you've been his teammate for a little bit now. You have seen the greatness, the progression from Lamar, and obviously one of the lists that everybody kind of looks forward to every season to get the players' perspective on just how they feel, where guys are ranked, how good guys are. It's the NFL Top 100 Players list, and that list officially concluded last night on Monday night. And Lamar Jackson came in at number 2 behind Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was number 1. Josh Allen came in at number 3. So obviously Josh won the MVP. Look, Lamar had an incredible season, and so did Saquon, obviously. Like, Saquon was incredible, over 2,000 yards. He had 13 touchdowns. Me personally, Nick, Lamar would have been number 1. That's okay, though.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that with you. I mean, I know being his teammate, you've seen Lamar. You saw him up close last season. 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I mean, all kinds of records. We'd be on here for like an hour talking about all the records he broke. I mean, what's your view on Lamar, watching him progress year to year, watching him I mean, how crazy was it to watch just how good he was last year?
Lamar is the most special, talented individual I've ever seen. I mean, what he can do when he has the ball in his hands is just truly remarkable. And the plays that he can make, you watch him from the sideline and you're literally just dumbfounded. Like, I think in the front of my mind right now, I think of that play against Cincinnati where he scrambles around. We're in Cincinnati. He's scrambling around, and then boom, hits. I think it was Isaiah Likely in the end zone for a touchdown. And it's like, no, like nobody can do. That's like something you do on Madden or something. Like you create a quarterback with 99 speed and he just runs circles around the rushers and stuff. And that dude's doing it in real life. And, it's a treat to watch every week. I've this is my 6th season with Lamar. And I've seen him do stuff like that in practice. I mean, some of the throws he makes is just, they're just special throws to watch. And it's, it's so much fun for me because our offense is so electric and so dynamic that, it makes my job, fairly easy. We kick a lot of field goals, a lot of PATs, score a lot of touchdowns. Last year was truly one for the books. And, I think what Saquon was able to do last year as a running back to rush over 12,000 or 2,000 yards in the 17-game regular season, that is something that is very, very hard to do. And we had Derek with, I think he finished the season just shy of 1,900 before the playoffs. And, anytime you can rush for 2,000 yards, it's just special. Guys are so big, so fast, so strong, so physical. Like running the ball is very, very hard. It's moving, the NFL is moving to that more of a throw style offense. I think Saquon, rightfully so, they won the Super Bowl. I think he played a season that is arguably one of the best seasons of all time at running back. And so for me, I'm biased because I'm Lamar's teammate. I love him. I think he's the best player in the NFL, hands down. But, for other guys like, the Eagles were winning a lot of games, and they beat us head-to-head in December and won the Super Bowl. And I think it's a coin flip for when, you're voting for those top 1 or 2 spots. Like, they probably got Saquon might edge him out by 1 vote or 2 votes, or, we don't know the count or whatever. But, I don't think Lamar's too upset about that. He knows what he did last season. He knows what he's done for his entire career so far, and he knows what he's got on the horizon. So he's focusing on that. Obviously, I'm sure he appreciates the guys voting for him to be the number 2 best player in the NFL, and that's all good and fine and well. But his goal is to win a Super Bowl and continue to play at the same level he's been playing at, and try to do things better than he has in the past. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm just happy I'm on 8's team. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I think it's so cool too, because you mentioned you were able to see Saquon up close last season. You also saw Josh Allen up close twice last year. And it's really interesting because obviously Josh won the MVP. That was a whole different conversation with Lamar and Josh. Both, again, had incredible seasons. Lamar coming in at number 2 versus Josh at number 3. I mean, what do you see when those two go head-to-head against each other? I think the coolest thing about them, by the way, is how much mutual respect they have for one another. You hear them talk about each other throughout the week leading up to game day. I'm sure we'll get some of the same this week as you guys head up to Buffalo for Sunday night in week 1. But watching those head-to-head battles, being on the good side of those games and sometimes on the bad side of those games, what's it been like watching those from the sideline and going out there and playing in those types of games?
I think Lamar and Josh Allen, they're our generation's like Brady and Manning. Like, they are 2 of the best quarterbacks, if not the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL. The games are always electric. We played against him a handful of times. I think since I've been with the team, we've squared off against them 4 times, once in 20, once in 22, and twice last year. And they're just so dynamic. I mean, they can change a game with one throw, one run, because both the guys can run. Both the guys run. Josh obviously is not quite as fast and electric as Lamar, but he's a really good running quarterback, and they have a really good offense, and they use him really well in that system. And he's done a great job in Buffalo. He took, Buffalo, when he came in, guy from Montana, or Wyoming, sorry. Buffalo was kind of the Buffalo Bills. They were riding on the 4 back-to-back lost Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That was kind of all they had going for them. And ever since Josh has been there, they've been one of the best teams in the NFL year in and year out. And, they've gotten the better of us 2 times since I've been here in the playoffs in Buffalo. And, that stings. But anytime these guys go up against each other, man, it is just an absolute show from quarterback. Like, the things that they can do, it's just so special. And, the games, the games are constantly changing. They're scoring in 1 play. We're getting the ball. We're scoring in 2 plays. It's just back and forth. And it's been, from a spectator, because, I watched the majority of the game. Let's be in Buffalo, I played 3 plays. So I watched, a lot of football in that 3-hour game that we played. And it's really cool to see it and to be there and be a part of it. Because I grew up watching Manning and Brady, and I grew up, watching these quarterbacks, Roethlisberger and Flacco playing those. When you get these top tier quarterbacks, man, those games are just so special. And we got another one coming up this week on Sunday night, so it's going to be another electric environment, electric game, and just another perfect example of these 2 guys putting them, being able to put a clinic on.
Lamar as a leader, I think, has grown. He has talked about that he has grown as a leader, and that his style, he's not going to be like Roquan in the middle of the huddle every week, or what Ray Lewis was to this team for years, going in there he has been in the middle of the huddle. But that's not his every week style type of thing. He leads by example. I think that he gets on guys to be the best versions of themselves. Like he wants the best for everybody on that roster. You've been with Lamar for a while now. How have you seen his leadership style kind of grow and evolve over the years?
Lamar is he's a pro's pro. He's very quiet, kept to himself. I actually had an interaction with him earlier this year in training camp, and I had an opportunity to talk to him for an extended period of time. And I've been his teammate for a long time, since 2020. Haven't had a ton of long, extended periods where I'm able to just chat with Lamar. And for this time, this year during training camp, we just happened to be in the sauna together. It was just me and him. And he just straight up was like, yo, what do you see? Cause I'm kind of a guy, I don't, my job is super important, but I'm not involved in offense. I'm not involved in defense. I'm kind of out of the meetings. They see me goofing off in the locker room while they're going to walk through, and I'm eating lunch when they're in meetings, all those things. So I'm kind of in the background, and I just pay attention to everything because I want to be a part of the team. I'm not involved in offense and defense. So special teams, I've been around for a while, so I try to take that leadership role towards special teams. And I got an opportunity for about half an hour to talk with him in the sauna. And, one of the things I said to him, this is the first time you and I have actually talked for more than about 3 minutes. Seriously. And he was he was so honest and so I could see in that moment that he was really taking that leadership part of being the quarterback and being the highest paid guy on the team and being the staple to our franchise, taking it to heart. And he's wanting to talk to everybody individual. And he even said to me, he's not a big rah-rah guy. He's not Ray Lewis. He's not, Roquan Smith. He's not big on that. He doesn't, I don't know if he's not comfortable. He didn't really go into that, but that's not how he operates. He operates by, making everybody else better on the field. He studies his playbook all the time. He knows offense in and out. He's like a general out there playing quarterback. And, my short, half hour time with him is I told him one of the things that I really appreciate about him is he recognizes that unfortunately you're the quarterback, you're the face of the team. Nobody really cares that you're uncomfortable about this because this is kind of it's kind of part of the job, right? And he's I know, man. I've talked to my family, my teammates, the coaches, other star quarterbacks, you mentioned Brady and some other guys that he talked to, and it just kind of comes with that territory. And this year, he spoke to us, very first team meeting we had at the of training camp. That's the first time he'd ever spoke in front of the team, at least since I've been there. I saw him talking to guys in the locker room or at lunch or, around the building, just sitting with them one-on-one and just locked in, eye contact, really diving in, asking questions about what can I do better as a leader? What can I do better? How can I treat you better? How can I treat everybody better? How can I be better? Because he at the end of the day, that man, all he wants to do is win. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the fame. All he wants to do is win football games. And I have so much respect for that. And I think this year and I told him, you're taking a step. This conversation that we are having is you showing me, not that it matters, but you're showing me, your teammate, who I'm one of the longest tenured guys you've been with, you're showing me that this is important to you. It's only going to make me dive in that much more. And I'm be yeah, it's important to me too. I want to be, he's coming to me. I want to be the same thing for him. And that was kind of my push to him is dude, when you talk, when you speak, everybody listens. Everyone, top to bottom. It doesn't matter. Practice squad, it doesn't matter who it is. When Lamar talks, everybody's paying attention. And that carries so much weight in the locker room, in those big games, in those big time moments. We lean on him. And he's taking ownership in that. And I just think if he can develop that and continue to work at that, it's going to only take his game to another level that, part of the reason I think Tom Brady was so good is because he was such a good leader. Yeah. And he was he did everything. He was the first one there, the last one in. He was doing the extra reps. He's calling the guys, on the break. He's having them fly here or wherever. And I seen that, Lamar's having guys in Miami over the offseason. He's, he's showing up to everything. He's being the first one there. He's staying late. Today, we were the last two guys, me, him, Zay, and a couple other guys, the last guys leaving the building at 6:30. And practice was over at 4:30. And it's he's just handling his business in a different way. And it's a Lamar Jackson that I've never seen. And it's inspiring to me because I'm dude, if this guy is making $55 million a year, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present, and I'm going to do everything I can from my role to try to help this team and help him and help all of us get to where we want to go. And, it's really exciting, and it's been such a special year so far. I mean, we haven't played a real game yet, but it's been a great 6 weeks, and I'm really excited to see what we're going to be able to do this year.
We don't have to worry about not playing a real game for much longer, because in less than a week, you're going up to Buffalo.
We're there.
Sunday night action. So coming up in the second part of the show, we'll talk a little bit about Nick's motivation as well as the team's motivation for a game that obviously is going to have a lot of highly charged emotions. So be sure to stay tuned. A lot coming up on Locked On Ravens. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined the league yet, now's the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran creating your millionth league. Yahoo Fantasy is loaded with fun ways to compete and brand new features that make the game even better. With season kickoff on September 4th, now's the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete. Want more ways to play? Try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until one team is left standing. Want to play instantly with friends? Try the new Draft with Friends mode. Prefer the classics? Get your crew together and go head-to-head in a private league. No crew, no problem. Join a public league, the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Moving along on Locked On Ravens, Kevin Oestreicher and Ravens long snapper Nick Moore still diving into Ravens talk, Ravens content. And Nick, as we mentioned heading into the break there, Buffalo's a really important game. Obviously, not just for all the reasons everyone's talking about. Obviously, it's where your season ended last year. It was unfortunate circumstances. You guys were so close to moving on to the AFC Championship game for the second year in a row. But just to start the season off on a good note, 0-2 last year is a tough way to start. Obviously, it was Isaiah Likely's toe in week 1 and then a tough game against the Raiders in week 2. We heard guys like Ronnie Stanley, Nnamdi Madubuike talk to the media yesterday about how important every game is in the NFL. And that, to me, spoke volumes, because I know that's kind of the mentality here is like, you guys want to start fast. That's clear. It's evident. We've heard a bunch of players talk about it. You even on the squad show have mentioned it to us a couple times about how important it is. But you personally, going through that game, watching it, participating in it in Buffalo last season, what are your emotions heading into it as you kind of understand the magnitude that, you're not going to get eliminated if you lose it, but you also want to start off fast and maybe send a message early on?
I'm fired up, man. I didn't get to do much when we were there in January. I only played 3 plays. And, when you're watching the game, like as a competitive athlete, you want to do everything you can to help your team be successful. And unfortunately, like we only got 3 plays. We made all 3 of our field goals. And, we did the best that we could do. But like, I'm just watching, like, I can't help this team. Like, I don't get an opportunity to go out there, make a tackle, do something on special teams. Like, that just didn't happen. So going into this environment, like I've been there twice. We've lost twice. Like it's, and one of the things we've really put an emphasis on this year that I'm sure Ronnie and Nnamdi were talking about is we want to start fast. Like we recognize at the end of the year last year, when it was all said and done, we would have been in such a better position had we have started the season better than we did. And like, we've done so much work from April to May when the draft came, to OTAs, to minicamp, to that long train, because the training camp we do is tough. It's very physical. It's very difficult. Not a lot of camps are as hard as ours, and we pride ourselves on that and on the work ethic. And we want that to show this week in Buffalo. We want to show out that we've been putting in the work. We've been doing the stuff that everybody else hasn't been doing, so that we're ready to rock and roll. And, we're going to put it to the test on Sunday night. And just our goal has always been this year, start fast. That's what we want to do. And what a better matchup to go up against than the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in all of the NFL, and definitely one of the best teams in the AFC. So it's going to be a great matchup for us. We're excited. It's a great challenge, and we're going to do everything we can to come out victorious.
Nnamdi talked a lot about yesterday during his availability about getting that bad taste out of your mouth, for the team. And Ronnie talked about emphasizing for the younger guys, as you mentioned, you have young players coming in, learning for the first time, that emphasis on starting fast. But one player who I know is wanting to get the bad taste out of his mouth is Mark Andrews. And Ronnie talked about Mark a little bit during his availability, said, he knows the type of competitor that Mark is, and he's not going to let a moment or a bad thing set him back, and called him a true warrior and pushing forward through those moments. And obviously Mark's expressed his excitement to go back to Buffalo and prove himself. And I know that the team, you and everybody, you have his back. It was tough what happened last season. It was unfortunate. And, Mark understands the gravity. He's made it clear. But can you kind of talk about, Mark, how hard he works, kind of what you said? You've also been his teammate for a long time. And, obviously it wasn't good what happened in Buffalo, but I know there's no one more excited than him probably to go back there and say, hey, this is the player I still know I am, and everybody's going to see it here.
Yeah, I think, you kind of struck the nail on the head there. I think Mark is one of the most, if not the most competitive people I know. And obviously he was frustrated with, what happened in Buffalo in January. And he puts a lot of that on himself, probably more than he should, because there's a lot of things we could have done better as a team in that game. But he's thinking about that 2-point play. And, that I didn't talk to him at all in the offseason. I heard he was kind of just kept to himself and was, basically just getting back to work. And I think we've seen that this year in training camp. He's at, I've seen him for 6 years. He's been the stable for our team. He's been the rock for Lamar. He's been the rock for our offense. He's been the rock for the Ravens since I've joined this program. And he's the guy when the game's on the line, that 89 is the guy you want to get the ball in his hands. And, at the end of the day, it's part of ball. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And I think the measure of what you are as a man and what you are as a football player is how you bounce back from those mistakes. Unfortunately for Mark, he had to wait 8 months to get his opportunity. But I think what we're going to see on Sunday, I think last year a lot of the stuff was, he wasn't starting fast. He didn't have the touchdowns early in the season. People were worried about if he was the same guy. And then he goes and leads our team in receiving touchdowns. And I said it, how many weeks in a row did I say it on Rip's show? Yeah. Hey, it's Mark Andrews, guys. Like, it's Mark Andrews. He's going to be fine. He's been the most dependable receiver that we've had, most dependable player we've had on the team since I've been here. And it came out and he showed it in the last, 14, 13 games, however many it was, the end of the season. And so I think for him, he's ready to go because he knows what happened last time he went there, and he's going to set the record straight, and he's going to do what Mark Andrews has always done. And he's going to continue to be the stable for us. He's going to be that rock for our offense and the dependable guy that he is and the competitive athlete that he is. And I'm just excited to, I hope that the first play goes right to him and it just gets it out of the way early. And he's able to catch, do whatever, run whatever route, catch the ball and runs through somebody's face and really just remind people like, hey, what happened last year? It happened. And I'm back. It's 2025. We're moving on, and we're gonna continue to do what we've always done. And he's gonna be a great player. I mean, he's still, in my opinion, I think he's the best tight end in the National Football League. He's the most versatile, and as far as running routes and catching balls and scoring points and being when you need a guy to make a play, Mark Andrews is going to make a play. And I just love being his teammate, and I think he's a fantastic player. And I'm excited for him to get this opportunity to continue to do what he's always done.
Yeah, a couple tough moments don't define a player or a person. And I think for Mark, he's worn those moments. He understands those moments, and you can tell he's ready to go back out there and prove himself. So I'm excited for Mark, and obviously excited for the game. And coming up in the final part of the show, we're going to dive into some special teams talk because obviously Nick plays special teams. So why would we not talk about special teams on the show? We're going to talk about Tyler Loop, Jordan Stout, and of course, talk about Nick Moore a little too, because I think we have to. So stay tuned. A lot coming up on Locked On Ravens. First, this show was brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building the same game parlay, or even jumping into live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. And for the Ravens right now over on FanDuel in terms of the Super Bowl, They are the favorites, plus 700. You got the Bills and the Eagles coming in at plus 750, the Chiefs at plus 800. I like that number for Baltimore, and I agree with them being the favorites. Their roster is great, and I think that they have a real shot to get the job done this year. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And the show is brought to you by Upside. Hey, Locked On Ravens fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN. Get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let the software drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code TOUCHDOWN. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Back here, Locked On Ravens, Kevin Ostreicher, Nick Moore still talking. I know it was a big weekend for you, Nick. Georgia comes out with a win over
Huge
Marshall.
win.
You know, and
Huge
you
win.
added to your Georgia contingent here. I know the Ravens added to the Marshall contingent as well. I know it's you. Have you and Malachi talked at all about that? About bonded?
Yeah.
How real is the college rivalry dynamic in the locker room?
It is real. It is real. Yeah, it is. You know, some guys, I won't name names, but Marlon Humphreys and Kyle Hamilton caught some slack today. Ronnie Stanley for Notre Dame and Alabama. Derek caught a couple strays walking through the locker room, and you know, it's just fun. It's fun to banter back and forth with the guys. You know, guys take pride in where they went to school, and a lot of us are from I'm from outside Athens, so I grew up, you know, basically Georgia fan. My dad went there. There's a lot of family tradition there, and we take a lot of pride in it. So. It's college football. It's fun. It's just fun to be a part of when you're in the NFL, just bantering with all the guys.
It seems like it's a fun dynamic, although of course not fun when your team loses, but obviously when you win, you can dish it out, right?
I caught some slack last year.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately for me, we beat Texas twice, so it made my job a little easier with Tuck because we were 2-0 against the Longhorns, but. You know, it is just so it's you know, at the end of the day, it's all laughs and you do it with your buddies and all that stuff. It's just a little different because we all played there, and a lot of these guys like Derek and Kyle and Ronnie and Malachi and Roe, and they were all phenoms, right? They were the face of the college when they were there, and so it's just funny to not like they can do anything about it. Kyle can't do anything about how Notre Dame lost to Miami last night, and you know but it is fun. And I was joking with Mike Green a couple weeks ago, actually about early last week, I was like, hey, you want to do a little wager? You wear Georgia, if they lose, and I'll wear Marshall if they lose, if Marshall covers the spread. And luckily he didn't because Georgia did not cover the spread.
I love it. Well, Nick, I know special teams, a big part of the Ravens. Obviously there's a standard there. There has been, and you've been a part of that standard. Obviously, it's a change in the guard now. The full Wolf pack is gone. Justin Tucker, Sam Cook, Morgan Cox, they're all out. It's now new. It's obviously Tyler Loop being a rookie, Jordan Stout continuing to progress, and obviously you now are the veteran in that room.
Yep.
For you and how the offseason's progressed for you guys, watching Tyler and I know he's the big storyline here in terms of how can he fill in. And I know that for Justin and all his on-field accomplishments, filling those shoes, it's a massive responsibility. Yeah. But how has it looked to you getting to know him, obviously on the field, but off of it as well? I mean, what's it been like working with Tyler? And obviously for you and Jordan, how are you guys feeling heading into the season also?
I think to touch on Tyler, he's been a great addition to our team. He's a really, really good kid. He's got strong beliefs. He's a Christian guy, and he's, locker room wise, I think he's done a phenomenal job. He's coming into a position that I would argue is the most difficult position anybody's ever come into at kicker. And, coming in after Tuck, and it's just been, the offseason was what it was, and it's just not an easy place to play on top of all the other stuff. And Tyler has done a really awesome job at recognizing that, accepting that that's, the beginning was tough for him. And I think we've seen a ton of growth and maturity through training camp. And then when John Hoyland was cut early in training camp, Tyler, he kind of stepped up, and he's done a tremendous job so far. He played really well in the preseason, and he's done really well in the live practice settings that we've had. And, for me, it's really when you watch a guy mature like that coming in, he was 23, he's 24 years old now, like all these expectations, and he played at Arizona. Like, I don't know how recognizable he was in college. Didn't keep up with that. And, for him to come into this spot and do what he's done thus far, it's been very exciting to watch. And it's also been really cool for me to see, because as the older guy who's been around and played with a bunch of different guys, like I was always the youngest guy. I mean, I was 10 years younger than Sam Cook. I was, 4 years younger than Tuck. And so now I'm 8 years old, 8.5 years older than Tyler, and I'm 6 years older than Jordan. Like, the age gap is there, but these guys have done a phenomenal job. And, Tyler's is great. And I'm excited for him to get, because like you're leading up to this week, and as a rookie, like you just cannot wait for this first game, because you don't know what to expect until you get through it. And then once you get through it, you're like, dude, I can do this. Like, but it's all this anxiety and anticipation and, expectations that are leading up to this one moment. And it's like, all right, when that moment comes, all right, week 2, let's get going. So I just want him to go out there and do what he's been doing for the last 6 weeks, and continue to progress and continue to grow and have confidence when we go out there, because he's a great kicker. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't, and we have that standard in Baltimore, and we have a long history of great kickers. And, he's just the next name on that list that's going to be a great kicker. And I just can't wait for him to go. And, for Jordan, I got to give major props to Jordan, because, and I talked to him about this, it's the maturity that I've seen from him over the last 8 months has been truly remarkable. He caught a lot of slack, for some punts he had late in the season last year. And he knows that he didn't play the way he needed to play. And he's taken that and not let it affect him negatively. He's used it. And what he's been able to do these last, 6 weeks, I thought he played phenomenal in the preseason. He's been fantastic in practice. Like today was nothing. It was the same old. He was just fantastic. And I want him to get this game going. And I hope we get the punt more than we did the last time we were in Buffalo, because I just think he's so ready to go. I've never seen him like this. And, we've only played 2 years together. I was there in 23, but didn't play with him. And I haven't seen him do the stuff that he's been doing ever. And I'm just like, dude, I want to see this. I want to get this game going so that you can do this. You can put this on display and show everybody that you were drafted in the 4th round for a reason. And I'm excited for him, man. He's done a fantastic job. He's been a tremendous teammate. He always has. And I just cannot wait for him to get this opportunity to go and dominate. And he's gonna have a great year. I can feel it coming, and I just cannot wait to watch him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great year for you guys. And look, I think to me, the fun part is learning throughout the season, right? You mentioned early on in the season, it's about figuring things out and making sure you're able to get everything going. I mean, by the time December, January, hopefully February rolls around, I think hopefully everything's going to be firing on all cylinders, and feels like you guys are well on your way to doing that. But Nick, yeah. I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you. Before I get you out of here, where can people find you, socials wise? What do you got going on? Lay it all out there, man. What do you got?
I got one social. I got Instagram at NickMoore046. You can find me there. I put all my stuff up there. We're working on the Twitter. My wife is she's my publicist. She runs my social media, so she keeps me in line and gives me a chance to focus on work and family time when I'm not doing football. So she's the boss of it, and you can find us there.
Awesome. The links to that will be in the description down below. You can find Nick there. And of course, you might find him on here a little more often over the course of the season, which is really exciting as well. So, Nick, I appreciate you. We'll be talking again soon. And of course, thank you to everybody who watched and listened to the show today on the way out. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button in video form, follow along and subscribe in audio form. And we'll be right back here tomorrow on Locked On Ravens with more Baltimore Ravens talk.